Call the meeting to order. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. No Dave Capers coming tonight? I have a lot of questions for him. Okay, today I'm looking at Welcome to a meeting of the Stamford Select Board. If you have a matter to discuss that is not included on the agenda, you may do so by addressing the chairperson and stating your name and address. You will notice that all our meetings are recorded, and this is to aid with the summarization of the minutes. Visitors are welcome, and we allow 5 minutes of comments per visitor and 15 minutes per topic. Discussions will be held in a common, civilized manner and respectful of others. Select board members present are Nancy Bashika.
Doug Roy.
John Dunn. Kurt Demar.
Will there be any adding of items to tonight's agenda or removing of items from tonight's agenda?
I have additional correspondence since the agenda.
Will there be any adjustments to the agenda, such as changing the order of items? No. Okay. Hearing of visitors, 5 minutes per visitor, 15 minutes per topic. Visitors?
I'm a visitor.
Oh, Jeb, yes, Jeb is reporting the meeting, and it is on YouTube.
Oh, nice, nice. I gotta behave that one.
Planning commission is on too, Jake.
Common civil.
You've been live for a few minutes. Yeah, you've already done that. You're on.
Reading and approval of records and orders, regular minutes of May 2nd.
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Road conditions, unfortunately Dave Pedro's not here because I have a few questions for him. I will talk to him and see if he can come next meeting then.
I'm sure if you realize you have questions, you will.
Yeah, I assumed and I shouldn't have, but I think it's important that he is here because the highway is one of our biggest budget items. Okay. Recycling?
Were we gonna hear a visitor?
I just said, hearing the visitors, nobody said anything.
No,
Dan's got, handed his brochure.
No, I've given you guys everything.
Oh,
You ready to hear me?
Yeah.
yeah, you're under here the visitors, Dan. I was wondering, I said, how come Dan's so quiet? What's going on?
Okay. So I'm gonna try to get this through in 5 minutes. So my first word is resiliency. Okay? And that word's a big word. Like I didn't even learn it in school, but I learned it after school. Resiliency has a lot of aspects, but it, like on the family level, but also on the town level, on the state level, and on the country level. And so I'm gonna put Mike on the spot here. If Mike drops dead tomorrow, okay? Resiliency. He's got 2 sons and 2 son-in-laws that will take care of things. Okay? That's resiliency.
God help us.
That's resiliency. Okay? And I have 3 sons, and they'll take care of business. I put out that letter for the planning commission. I see stuff coming down the pike. And I see it like close. And one of the board members, you guys remember, that's why I gave out the February 6th letter. Cause I gave that letter to the planning commission back in 2020, and I got shot down 8-1. They didn't want it going out to the townspeople, it'll scare them. I came to the select board, I was on the select board, and I got this board to send it out to the townspeople, okay? Everything I talked about during COVID, I was proved right. Absolutely 100%. I'm not a brilliant freaking guy. It just, I can read these things and I can see them. In my job, I feel, it is to let people know. Warn people and let people know. So, the planning commission is hesitating. They want to soften my tone on that letter. Okay? I read it again. I think my tone is fine. I'm not like hitting anybody over the head with a hammer. Okay? What I'm concerned about is resiliency. One of the board members, and I'm not going to mention names, okay? And it's good we have, I just met him tonight, he's a new emergency guy. And this guy sent an email to all the town officials, like I'm beating up on the emergency commission. The emergency board.
Emergency management.
Yeah, okay. So resiliency. If Paul Ethier were to walk in this room right now and listen to me say to the townspeople, everybody should have like 4 fire extinguishers in their house and have a plan to get out of the house if there's a fire. And do you think Paul is going to say, hey man, that's my job, you're stepping on my toes? No, the more people that resiliency, the more people who understand what to do in a situation, it makes Paul's job easier, right?
Yeah.
He comes to your house. David Tatro. If I came in and I said, everybody should be cleaning the culvert, the low end of the culvert out of their ditch in the spring and in the fall, and David's gonna say, hey man, that's my job? You're stepping on my toes? No. It's resiliency. You have layers of protection. Okay? So, I didn't even keep one for myself. I do better standing on my feet. So I put this together, and everybody saw here the last 3-4 days the big solar flares. Okay? That's one possibility you're going to lose the grid. This nation has no protection. And I mentioned this at the Planning Commission meeting. 2008 congressional report, you can all look it up. The United States has no hardened grid. And back then there were 2 dangers. EMP and a solar flare. Grid goes down, everybody's screwed unless you have a gravity feed well. Gravity feed septic. Okay? This is reality. Now there's a third danger. Anybody know Christopher Wray?
FBI.
Okay, he's head of.
FBI.
Not even if it was.
He was.
Okay, he's been talking publicly the last 3-4 months. There are 250,000 Chinese military men in this country. Okay? They're not here for tea and biscuits. Okay? And they're trained. This is Christopher Wray. I thought he was head of the CIA or the
FBI.
FBI.
He still is, I was in.
He was.
He still is.
Well, one of the sheriffs in Ohio was at the meeting, and I listened to him. They're openly warning from the Biden administration. Now, you might not be seeing it on CNN or anywhere else. These people are here to take us down. I can't do anything about the United States of America. I can't do anything about the state of Vermont, but here in Stanford, I put together some things in case right, that's a third one now. EMP is like gone. Hacking, right? They can take down the grid, they can take down infrastructure, they can take down a lot of stuff. And the Chinese and the Russians are brilliant at it. What do? The grid's down tomorrow, and you may have a generator, Kurt.
Yeah.
John, you may have a generator. In a week, you run out of fuel. How are you gonna pump your water? How are you gonna run your septic? How are you gonna do stuff? Okay, so what I did is I put together a list of like 6 things that will help people. Okay? Now I don't make any money off this, right?
Get $25 a year on the
Is it up to
That's fun.
Fact checker.
This is my town. Okay? And I don't care what side of the fence you're on politically. I fought with almost everybody in this town. Right? But at the end of the day, I don't want to see people like suffering and having hardships. And there's some simple things that I put on this list that people can do. And again, it's resiliency, emergency management. Chair, the more people who are prepared when, I don't like to use bad language, but
Crap, you can say crap.
if the crap hits a fan, okay, you know what I was gonna say. The more people who are prepared and know what they're doing, the less trouble it's gonna be for the emergency management. Would you agree?
Yes.
Okay. I'm not trying to step on anybody's toes. Everybody's got a position, but as people in town, the more we're self-reliant. And I have to mention this, it's like Jim Sullivan and I, for 15 years, we used to talk about getting people to grow food locally, so we're more self-sufficient.
You just said the key words. Can I interject for 1 second?
Sure.
So I've had this brainstorm that I haven't quite worked all the way through yet, and it is the brainstorm, which I'm pretty good at.
Yeah.
I'm not good at organization or, put it into place. But like a self-reliance festival, right? Where we showcase different businesses that can help you obtain these goals.
Yeah.
Different things that maybe there's a community sustained agricultural there that'll sell you shares because you can't garden yourself.
Yeah.
Maybe there's someone there that can sign you up for hunter safety training. Maybe there's someone there that sells mini water turbines.
I love it.
Maybe there's solar panels, anything that can help you be more resilient.
I love it.
I went to a
Sufficient.
fair, I guess you would call it,
Mhm.
up in Maine, and the state of Maine sponsored it.
Yeah.
It was huge, it's 3 days, and that's exactly what they did. It was everything you can imagine, from people selling walking sticks,
Anything,
seeds,
Yep.
teaching you how to shear a sheep.
I mean, we used to have
It
a
was
huge
amazing.
popular craft fair right here,
Yeah.
This is kind of along the same type of concepts as that. I don't know how we would go about putting all this together.
Yeah.
But anything that can help you be more,
We
we
start
can help be
small.
more sustainable, right, in any way.
I love what you're saying.
Yeah, I think that long term, that's something, I don't know how we would go about organizing such a thing, but And it's right with the.
I would be on
modern day
board helping
philosophy of
organize that.
Getting greener and becoming
Yeah.
more self-reliant. And, you know, the ideas are endless, right? You can,
Right.
they go on forever, what we could actually.
Not to be a negative part of it is the biggest negative part is volunteers.
Right,
So you just mentioned hunter safety.
right.
I did hunter safety 21 years. I resigned this year. When I resigned, the other two instructors resigned. There is no hunter safety in
Right.
northern Berkshire Snow.
Okay.
You can't.
Doesn't Mike
Yeah.
Cynical do it?
That's
I
from
know
mine.
him.
That's
Oh,
right.
oh.
So we
You
could
know,
have,
I did it in mass,
Oh.
anyone could have a booth, really.
but it's.
But no, to your
How the
point,
North
I
American-
think that is brilliant, and you can count me in. I'd be
Right,
very interested in organizing and helping set that up.
right.
Okay, so I just wanna run down my list quick now and give you guys bullet points, okay? The Lehman's Amish store. I've been buying stuff from them for 25 years.
Thank you.
They make a hand water pump that will draw water from 125 feet. Now, most of you people in town, not me, but you have a drilled well. Your grid goes down, how are you gonna have water? You're not. Okay? And somebody at the planning commission meeting, they mentioned they checked the static level, and their level was above 125 feet from, I don't know how to do that, I don't know, right? But your drilled well is gonna have a static level where the water maintains a level. If it's less than 125 feet, you can just put this on the top of your well, draw water. Okay, and your water's purified. So that's, I put that on here, Lehman's Amish store. I put on here Shumway's, right? I'm always pushing gardens, order heirloom or open pollinated seeds. Open pollinated heirloom. If you're buying seeds that are hybrid or generic, those seeds are useless. Whatever you grow, you can't save those seeds. Big Berkey. So, your static level, I just bought one from my mom, okay? They got a drilled well, she's got a drilled well. My house, I don't have to worry about, it's a shallow well with plenty of depth of filtration, okay? Big Berkey water filter, this comes from Mike Adams. About 3 years ago, he's got a lab down in Texas, and he studied all the top water purifiers. Okay, the Big Berkey takes out 99.8% of everything, including, I'm gonna mess this up, cesium?
Yes.
I got it?
Yeah.
Cesium, which is radiation from nuclear fallout. Okay? It comes with 2 filters. I just bought one, it came in like 3 days ago. Under $400. The 2 filters it comes with will filter 6,000 gallons of water. And I did the math. I'm like, okay, my mom, my brother, myself, half a gallon of water a day. I figured 2 gallons per day times 365. You know, this water filter is going to last for over 6 years. Okay? You can take pond water. You can take water out of the brook. You can take anything, run it through this filter, and you're good to go. I put in here naturalnews.com. They have tons of information. That's Mike Adams, where he did this study on the Berkey filters. You should consider getting iodine pills to help with radiation exposure. He sells those. Okay? Number 5, wellness company. This gets, Yeah, I love it. This gets like people wound up. Antidote for the spike protein in your body if you got vaccinated. I was on this board, I gave an hour-long presentation, and I just want to point out everything I mentioned about the vaccines has come to fruition. You may not like it, you don't have to. Everything I said was true. I got accused of killing people, telling them not to get vaccinated. Everything I said was true. Nations of the world are banning all vaccines for COVID because of the problems. Okay? Regardless, your system, a genetically modified vaccine, genetically modified, is in your system. Your system can't get rid of it. Dr. Mercola, who I met in Dallas 2 years ago at a conference, he started what's called the Wellness Company. Brilliant idea. He's spoken to almost every state legislature in the country, giving information on all this, okay? But he started the Wellness Company. And he was one of the top doctors in the United States. He got canceled because of his voice. Since then, and I just have to mention quickly, the FDA, they're now allowing ivermectin. They're all now allowing hydroxychloroquine, right? These were things I talked about here as a select board member. They would have taken care of you along with D3 vitamins with COVID. So this wellness company, you can get, him and the other doctors and scientists have come up with an antidote to remove that from your system. Okay? Costs $100. And it will remove that spike protein from your body. Now, on top of that, and this is brilliant, $10 a month. Anybody doesn't have health insurance? $10 a month, you have access to the top doctors in the country, and they all have a bent away from the chemicals that the pharmaceuticals are trying to put into your system. Okay, $10 a month, you call up, hey, I've got this issue. They'll talk to you. If you need a prescription, you get it online. Okay? All this stuff, these things are happening under the wire in the midst of the system we're in. Okay, I think it's brilliant. Okay, in the last point, and I put down 3 months minimum supply of food. And I've been talking about this for years, right? FEMA, all the government agencies have been warning people to have, in case of natural disaster, whatnot, government agencies actually say 3 to 6 months. Okay, I just mentioned 3. And so why am I here? One, I wanted the Planning Commission to sponsor this. I got shut down 4 years ago. I'm not shut down yet, but they're like 3 weeks away from our next meeting, and they think I should soften my tone. No.
Dan, you don't soften your tone. You don't.
Right.
You still
I have been accused of I have bad manner and tone. Okay? But the point is, I feel passionate about this stuff. And I do get loud, and I do get confrontational. But it's all with a good intent behind it. It's just the way I am. Right? It just, me, so I'm at the point right now, I just wanna like pay the town enough for the postage and the work.
What do you wanna send out?
I wanna send this
Which one?
May 13th letter out to every person in
The other
town,
one already went out.
right? And I'll pay for it. That's how strongly I feel about this. And the emergency people, if you think I'm stepping on your toes, I'm not. It's resiliency. The more people, if you have less people to deal with, just imagine, and I gotta say this, worst case scenario, EMP, or that solar flare 3 days ago was at the size of the Carrington event in 1849. Everything gone. And you got 800 people in town who can't get water. There's no way a board in town, the state of Vermont, or the federal government is gonna be able to supply that. So my point is resiliency, where the more people in town, that, I mean, if only 10 people in town take my advice, that's 10 less people, right? I know myself and another person in town, I'm not gonna mention his name. We have the biggest springs in town, okay? The two of us could provide more than half the town with clean water. Gravity
Is
fed.
the other person me?
No.
I got a big spring.
Oh, well, okay, add you to the list. Add you to the list.
12 by 12 by 6 feet deep.
Where do you get water?
Gravity.
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 Okay, so you know what I'm talking about.
I know exactly where you're coming from.
And it's filtered,
Yeah.
right?
Well, mine's not filtered, but.
Well, it's filtered from the
Remember this,
soil. It's filtered from the soil. Even radiation is gonna filter out through that.
So sending this out, the only thing I would question is expense.
I'll pay for it.
Well, David,
Hold on. So first of all, I would ask Bob, you're in favor of what he said. I think you said that, at least, I don't know.
Can I speak?
Yeah,
I'm on the agenda tonight for the emergency management as well.
yeah,
And I'm new to this position, I'm not new to town, but I've got some ideas that are along the lines of what Dan's talking about, but probably not as extreme. That's my opinion on it.
Mhm.
I personally feel that neighbors should take care of neighbors. People that are in need of assistance, elderly people should register with the care registry. It's a state of Vermont database that is safe. It is safe with people's records. And if there's an emergency in Stanford, I can call the state watch person and they can share with me the incident, the people in Stanford that might need extra assistance. This is the product that I was gonna ask that maybe we could send out with the tax bills or something like that to get to the folks in town. I'm a believer in people taking care of themselves and helping with the solution, not being part of the problem. I do understand that sheltering people in this community is gonna be very difficult. We've got a school that we might be able to use, we might not be able to use. I haven't met with Randy yet, but it's on our list as a shelter location. The sheltering is a big project. It is a really big project to make sure that you can safely shelter people and safely feed them and provide for them. My initial step in an emergency is asking the residents, do you have a family member that lives nearby that has electricity or that has heat or that has that you can stay with for a little while until this thing is over? That I'm kind of the neighbors taking care of neighbors, family taking care of family. And
Sheltering, insulating makes you responsible for everyone that you're sheltering.
absolutely.
There's all kinds of protocols that you have to follow.
Then you got animals, then you got people who won't leave their house without their animals, and you got, you know, they're better off having a plan than being part of the solution than being part of the problem.
Exactly. I
All
love
right,
that.
and I feel that, you know, this does talk to the fact that you have animals. There's probably a questionnaire that should be or could be made up and sent out with something like this, and something like Dan's proposing, to all the residents of Stanford, to get them to start thinking about this stuff. 6 months of, or what did you say, 3 months of food or 6
Yeah.
months of food? Guys, you can't go to the supermarket and find something that isn't gonna be outdated in a week. Right?
Whole process.
Cans, dry goods.
Yeah, but this theory, I agree with that type of a theory where people should take care of themselves. Now, this is the first I've heard this about Dan's plan. All right, this is the first I've heard about it. But I just think that that's a situation, as far as for town emergency management, we would be better off educating our residents to make them succeed than having to house our residents when there is a situation. It'd be probably cheaper, it'd be more comfortable for the residents. It'd be a lot of positives on that side of it than saying, okay, you can go to the school, you can go sit in a hard chair, sleep on a hard cot, you got no TV, you got no this, you got no that, all right, and we'll see what we can find, maybe we'll buy you a pizza, you know? But, you know,
That's
that's,
like a modern spin on the old way of seeing things.
Right.
The old way of doing things.
Everybody was a prepper
So-
5 years ago.
that's my thought process. I talked this over with Stuart and Sheila. We went to a meeting Tuesday night up in Manchester for the county emergency management team. And we talked through some ideas around. We talked about some ideas, but I told them, this is my plan, is to not necessarily take people out of their homes unless we have to, and if we do take them out of their homes, try to suggest that they have a plan that they can go with a relative, or go with a friend, or go to somebody's house that may not be affected by the same situation. The electricity outage on Mill Road that took that whole section of town out for 2 days.
Sounds to me like you're talking about a community.
That's,
Yeah.
we need to be checking on our neighbors, and we need to know what our neighbors' capabilities are, and we're stronger that way.
I was wondering, because I have volunteered for the fall festival that the school puts on, which is a really lovely event. Families, kids, all that. And there's also people who are vendors for crafts and jewelry and that. And I wonder if we could set up a section that starts to initiate some of these, ideas. Have people be, interested
That would be a very
talking
good
and
venue
signing up
for
with
this
each
type of
other
thing, where
and
it's
talk about,
multi-purpose,
yeah,
and get
information
maybe
about
some
some of
vendors
these
here
products.
that are selling the stuff
Yeah.
that Dan's talking about, but also have an opportunity for me to meet people and
Yeah.
talk to them about my ideas as far as Stanford emergency management and so on. So that's pretty much all I wanted to say about that. And I'm not personally, and these are all personal decisions of what you do with your body.
Yeah.
That's my opinion on it. If I want to take iodine pills, I'll take iodine pills, but I'm not gonna right now. That's just me. But, I feel that that's my approach to emergency management. If we have a gasoline tanker tip over in the middle of town and we have a catastrophe of 10 houses, that's a different approach. But that's is the emergency an environmental emergency? Is it a hazardous materials emergency? Is it a forest fire that's gonna burn? Here's a forest is dry. They're worse than they've ever been before. It's gonna burn people out of their homes. But there's the type of thing that I can find it hard to believe. Electricity is the biggest thing that is our biggest,
One of the things, Bob, I believe is one of our biggest emergencies is snowstorms. Believe it or not, it just happens to be a snowstorm in Vermont, knocks the power out.
yeah.
Just like you said, if we push to have people come here, they're part of the problem, most of them. I'm not trying to put them down, I'm saying,
I agree.
to go get some on a road that's not plowed, David's out plowing and now this place wasn't plowed.
And
makes
there
a
they are,
big
they might get in an
problem.
accident because they left their home, because the road was
Correct.
plowed. and-
So now you got the fire
and all
department
this
on
type
that
of
road,
stuff,
you know?
so
You're
I got some-
responsible for other needs.
I got some other ideas rattling around up here that I don't wanna bring out public right now. About what do we do with people, and I'll talk with you guys individually, so we don't have a quorum problem. So, you know what I'm saying? But, that's my thought process in a nutshell, and I like the idea of in the fall having, and that gives several months to plan,
Yeah,
and Dan can put together his
yeah.
his ideas and present them to the people. I'm just looking to try to get people to start thinking about what would they do.
Mm-hmm.
What would you do with your animals? If you got horses, what would you do with your horses? What would you do with your,
I always want,
you know,
Mark always wanted.
People-
We've talked about it all the time.
people need to be,
Depending on themselves and taking.
and if they have special needs that the fire department or the EMS or that someone is gonna need to know about, that's what this cares, that's what this is for. This isn't for just elderly people, this is for every people.
Right.
Right? And we'd like to know that type of stuff.
So, I think that this letter, Dan,
Yeah.
and the emergency management are similar but separate.
Yeah,
Makes
yeah.
sense?
Yeah,
This is just a suggestion, there's nothing on here that says, do this, I'm an expert, doctor, or anything, it says, you should consider, these are my thoughts, so I don't have a problem with this.
I want to point out, I love what Bob's saying. I just think, and Bob, you don't know me, but if you look, that's why I give out both letters.
How can you not know, Dan?
In 2020,
I've heard a lot.
Oh,
in 2020, in my letter of 2020 on COVID, I was talking about a lot of this stuff. And going back before that, I would talk about gardens, heat source, wood stoves, backup, whatnot, okay? But to your point, Mike, I'm just feeling like I love everything been talked about. I like what Kurt talked about. I like what you're talking about, Bob, and that's stuff down the road that can. I feel like this is so important right now. I'll pay for it. Okay, I'm a town
I wrote
person.
down the word time, right? That's what I
Yeah.
figured that's what you were gonna say.
I'll pay for it.
Timing.
Because every person who gets a big Berkey, every person who gets a hand pump,
Even if there's one in the neighborhood,
yeah,
even if there's one in
So why
10
not
houses,
do this on-
so
Exactly.
something to that effect,
So what do you-
then that area is community and sustainable.
Yes.
Right.
okay, so what I'm asking, you all know,
Lisa.
I got.
right? You all know me. I've made a lot of enemies in town, okay?
Yeah, well, my daughter married your son, so I.
Dan,
Front of me.
Dan,
So, I mean, if the letter has to go out in my name, I'll do it. But you realize a lot of people are just gonna look at my name and they're gonna be like, I can't stand this guy. I mean, probably with good reason.
So you love me so far tonight. There's two things that, there's two things, this is where you're gonna probably yell. But there's two things here that I would say are maybe concerning to some people in town. And it's the mention of the radiation pills and radiation exposure and any mention of the vaccine. I just think those are like political hotbeds that I don't know that we need to open that can of worms right.
But it's still a choice, it's a choice.
Yeah.
And like, I don't have iodine pills.
Mhm.
I don't worry about it because I know how to defend against it,
Right.
right? But to have iodine pills in your house in case,
Yeah, but everyone that receives this letter reads it differently, and everybody has a different reaction to it.
I can't help that. If my kid is running out towards the road, right, and there's traffic coming, and I scream, John, stop! And he's like, oh, Dad, I take offense to that. The way your manner and tone frigged me up, so I just ran into the cars.
No, it's just, I mean, it's your letter, but it's just a suggestion, I just.
No, I hear you, but it's like, if people don't have, most people don't have the knowledge, okay? I have the knowledge. I was trained in this stuff in the military, and my whole life since, my house I built in 1998 was for these times, okay? I set everything up 1998 for the possibilities of this, okay? And I've done everything I could locally to get people on board. Now, I can't hold your hand. I can't. That's why I started with Ezekiel. It's like that's in the Old Testament. It's like the Lord puts a watchman on the wall, right? And that watchman's job is to warn people. And if I don't warn, I will be held accountable. If I warn and you don't want to take the advice, that's on your head.
That's right.
But if I don't warn, it's on my head.
Dan, can you hold off a minute? Because Lisa's been raising her hand. She's got a question here too concerning this.
Well, I want to, I back what Kurt said, so he covered some of what I was going to say. But the second thing is, I've been working on, Dan, this since Monday, since the planning commission, and my understanding was because it's confusing because you're handing out both of these letters.
No,
So
just one, oh,
Well, he's been like at the planning commission, it went out to the audience like it did now, and to the whole board. So I've had both letters, and I'm trying to work with both of those. So I'm not understanding why we're getting the 2020 letter at all, if it's not relevant to what we're doing. And so that in defense of the planning commission, we're working on the softening of the words like radiation and vaccine. They're tough words to put
Well,
out.
like a catastrophic event.
Yeah, it's just trying to soften that a
During
bit,
a
and I think,
catastrophic event, certain necessities need to be in place.
and I'm just
Water,
not sure why we're getting the
food,
2020 letter. Like,
if
what are we
you
supposed to do with that?
Are interested in, you can then point them in a certain direction,
I mean, I agree with everything you're saying, I don't disagree with what you're saying.
so
I just feel
is the
Right.
that,
planning commission gonna send this letter out then?
We left it that we were gonna work on it, but it was my understanding that, I guess I'm not understanding why we're getting the 2020 letter at all.
Well, why you're getting the 2020 letter is just to show that I've been giving out information over the years.
Okay, that kinda confused the situation.
So I did ask Dan which one you wanted to
Yeah,
send
right.
out. He said
Yeah.
this.
That was a
No,
little-
the
that was a little
2020
confusing.
is just to show that,
And I've been trying to
yeah, it's a
soften the language.
comparison, and some of the things are the same in the 2020 letter.
Mhm.
But just to show that it's been on my mind for ages. I mean, like I said earlier, it's like, this is my town, right?
He thinks-
And I don't care what your political persuasion is.
This is more emergency management than planning.
Yeah.
If I don't know how to put this, I don't think we have 3 weeks for the next planning commission and then soften it, and I'm probably not gonna agree with it. Cause I don't think it needs to be softened. I mean, if you don't like something,
Well, I don't think we need the military stuff. I applaud all of your experience that you bring to it, don't get me wrong there, but I think when you start with a biological, chemical, blah, 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 applauds for that, but I think when you put that in a letter, it's gonna these are the parts that are more scary to residents, I think, from my perspective.
Here's my thought from I don't know what the board feels, but Dan, if you wanna send this out, and not wait for 3 weeks. This is your prerogative to send it out.
Yeah.
If the planning commission wants to send something in 3 weeks, it's up to them, but, I know you brought this to us many times, even before 2020.
Right.
This was always your baby, and you brought this to us several times. So I think it's up to you. I don't know how the board feels about sending it out. My personal thing from the board's point of view, if we send this out from the board, fine. But in 2 weeks, somebody's gonna come and want a letter saying, I don't believe in guns, that Stamford should outlaw all guns. So do we have to send that letter out too? Just because somebody wants to send it out? That's, Dan,
No, I
I'm
hear what
looking
you're
at it
saying,
from-
that's why I offered to pay for it.
I know, I'm looking at it from here.
No, I understand.
So I said, you can send it out under your name, and
Yeah.
hopefully people would prepare with the food, and if they want the,
Yeah, maybe you
Seeds?
should have it worded where if anybody's interested in being better prepared in a catastrophic event, you can reach out to me personally and I will point you into the right direction to help you become better prepared. And
Okay.
then you can start, explaining to them on one-on-one terms. I know it's gonna probably be a lot depending on how many people come forward, but
and keep all your bullet points there, because they may want to look into that themselves too, because I never
Well,
heard
the
of Big
information's
Birdie.
there.
There's just
Yeah.
little nuances
Yeah.
between being informative and being scary, I guess. You gotta walk that line and,
you're not wrong by any means.
no,
You just-
I agree with
You
everything,
gotta
I agree with everything you're saying.
create a little special
The problem
Make it
character.
home and sprinkle sugar on it.
The
But
problem
the-
with
Yeah,
the
because you wanna
places-
make it appealing, you wanna make it appealing.
Yes.
Your mission and your desire are correct.
You don't wanna.
You wanna make it appealing. You wanna be like,
Right.
come with
Make
me,
it palatable.
as opposed to people being like, yikes, and not listening.
Okay.
You want
But
them to
Okay.
Dan is-
No, that brings up a whole nother discussion, but sometimes good healthy fear makes us get motivated, right? And,
For some
and well, who's there scared about, it's like, I raise my voice and people are like scared, it's like, come on, give me a break.
But that's
Do I have a gun pointing in your head?
But that's
Just the fact that.
The sun and the wind were sitting one day discussing who had more power.
That's
A
right.
man was walking down the street in the sunset, the wind said, I bet you I can get him to take his coat off before you can, son. And the sun said, I'll take that back. And the harder the wind blew, the more they went, the man held the coat tight. And he gave up. And then the sun just came out and shined and the man took his coat off.
Yeah.
Asa?
Yeah.
Asa.
You know what I'm
Okay,
saying?
can we start moving on? Dan, 45 minutes.
I'll tell you what, Dan. Tell you what, Dan.
You can't talk again for 8 more meetings now.
I'll tell you what I'll do as a board member. Yeah, I'll help you pay for it. How's that? You wanna send it out? I'll pay for half.
Okay, Laura, you got it?
Just says Mike DeMond, then you don't have to worry about the slide. Just
Okay.
Send it out.
You and me.
All we gotta do is get the,
I can give you
Addresses.
addresses, residences, not
Yeah.
camps, second homeowners,
Yeah.
just
Does
residences.
that mean it goes off, I can stop working on it then for the planning
well,
commission?
I think if the planning commission would like to send something out
Yeah,
in,
that's.
in name, I actually think it should go through emergency management.
I do too.
And I think that when you really get something where everybody's kinda happy with it, it's more. So, like Bob's saying, he has other things that he wants to get out to people. That could be a nice package that we can send out, say, okay, this is what the emergency management suggests. Part of it can be part of some of what Dan suggested, part of it's over here, Marta's got something.
Mara,
you've got
yeah, Mara
something.
had some ideas, there were
Sure.
other things that we're
Then
trying to
we,
incorporate into
then we
it.
send out a package.
Yeah,
It might not be in time for what Dan's talking about, but, nothing against you, Dan, but we talked about it in 2020, and some of the stuff didn't happen, right?
Yeah.
So we might have time. But if we don't, hey, we get this letter out. But in the
I'll
meantime,
help you start.
we can have all this emergency, Bob's the new manager. We need
Alright.
Talk to
we
him.
need to start slow and put things together, right?
Okay.
And kind of get to know each other and see where we're at. I think that's, go over to the school and talk to them, because right away, when you said, I gotta go talk to Randy, I know, you said Dan, that you don't know Dan that well, I've been talking to the school before Randy was here about access to that room. Not the school, that room. And it drives me crazy that we can't just walk over there. When Kurt was a little guy, he'd go over there and, you know, walk in anytime you want.
We had the keys to the school at my home.
Exactly, you know?
Bob, you had a question?
Yeah, and I'm in agreement with putting together a package. I'm not at the level that Dan's at with having something written up and ready to go.
Right.
Maybe if Dan sends this out on his own and then sees it again in the fall when we have a fair type of thing, all right, that kind of stuff, I saw that once before. Now I can learn a little bit more about it.
Right.
Talk to Dan.
Solidify it, yeah.
You know what I'm
Sure.
saying? I do want to get out into the community and talk to people about my ideas on how to let them think about what would they do if.
Yeah.
That's you know, and that's not something that happens like that.
Yeah.
This is gonna be a slow moving thing for me, but, you know, I'm trying to make sure steps that are sustainable and not just come out and change everything Bill did, because I think Bill's got a good foundation on emergency management in town.
Right.
So, you know, and as far as the school thing goes, that's, you know, only, it's gonna be a bad situation if we're in
Chris,
school.
Chris, hold on, we can't hear Bob.
So one of the things you did go way over your 5 minutes and way over your 15 minutes.
I know.
But
Lock me up,
my
lock me up.
point is,
Chris, I know.
the emergency management, this ties into our emergency.
I love this.
And that is on the agenda, so I'm glad we brought it up and Bob got a
Yes.
chance to talk and come up with an idea that we can go down the road and start. It's gotta start with something, right?
Yeah, I
You
mean,
know?
but for once, it seems like we actually had a positive conversation around
Yeah, yeah,
it. We're talking about something negative.
great.
Ollie?
And
I just wanted to mention that the state just this week came out with a whole new set of rules for emergency management. And you knew that?
New set of rules?
Yes.
Was it this
Where-
week or a couple months ago that they came out with it?
I believe it was this week.
I saw
They
somebody.
passed a whole bunch of new stuff.
Well, they didn't talk about it Tuesday night at the regional meeting. So, but,
Maybe
there's a lot of resources out there that I have just barely touched.
I think we should segment right into emergency management right now.
Yeah, we're ready to go on to
And,
that.
you know, that way there, I think, we have that plan, Bob, and I've seen it before when we were talking with Bill.
It's not much different than Bill's,
Bob,
they changed a few
Is
things.
it detrimental that we wait to look at it again, or, I know you wanted to sign it tonight, but
We just got it
there's a
like,
few, you know, there's
Few
two
minutes
select boards that didn't see it before.
yeah.
Okay,
And we got it, what, yesterday or this morning?
yeah.
I got it about 5 o'clock
Is
tonight.
it-
and I went,
I mean, if you need to for some grant money or something.
No, it's just that I'm late with it. It was supposed to be
That's-
in the
That's
beginning of the
fine, I
month.
just,
And,
if we can wait till the next meeting, it'll give us a little bit more time to dig in,
Fine.
you know, I've seen it before when Bill was
yeah, I basically took the old one and I
changing names.
changed some names. I added a different EOC, which would be this room. So EOC's Emergency Operations Centers. One would be this room and an alternate one would be the firehouse. Now, I feel that, just to explain that, I feel that if we had an emergency in town, the Emergency Management Operations Center piece of it might be in the way at the firehouse.
Right.
And here, if we're here and we're all together trying to handle an emergency, Lori's got all her records. She's got her phone system, she's got a lot of resources here that we wouldn't have at the handy at the firehouse. So, I did take out some names and phone numbers of people that I think there was some, information in there that didn't need to be public record. And, I went with that. And, that's pretty much the most of it, of what I've done. I talked to the fire chief about another location for public, information location at the fire station. So my plan is to build or buy an exterior signboard that we could post things in. So that'd be 3 locations in town, which is what they're recommending. We got the town hall, we got Belmont's, and at the fire station, at the exterior of the fire station.
I think there's something of, recycling, but that's only on Saturday.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That's not,
I wouldn't use that as our
yeah,
posting. It's nice to have that up there for those people,
Yeah.
but less than half the town actually go there.
Right.
We determined that before, so.
yeah, I thought maybe people would go to the fire station if they're looking for information. And unfortunately, the fire station's volunteer, we're fortunate that we've got a good volunteer fire department. But as far as the, nobody being there most of the time, which is the way we like it, right, that means we're not having problems. So those are some of the changes I made.
What would be your position if there was an emergency that the fire department was involved in, but we were here? Would you come here?
I'm
Because you're
only a
fire-
member of the fire department.
Right.
I'm not an officer, I'm not I would be more involved in this
Yeah, if they need
as
you.
needed, as needed. And, Paul Ethier, who was listed in the other one, many locations, I've changed that to be more fire officer or senior fire officer or his designee, because they're gonna work within their system as well. And that's how I feel about, my whole philosophy on this is a team between me and Stuart and Sheila. Any of us can kind of do anything, but I'm just gonna try and steer the boat. You know what I'm saying? So that's, in short, that's the changes I made in this. Thank you.
Thank you.
yeah, if we can look it over and,
Yeah, I think one more session and then we should be able to adopt it.
status of joint meeting with school directors. I have 2 dates from Erica, May 29th or June 5th at 6:30. What day is May 29th?
Wednesday.
Wednesday, and June 5th, that's probably Wednesday also. What's your-
June 6th would be your regular meeting.
Oh,
June 6th would be your
no,
Thursday.
5th,
So
fifth.
5th would be.
okay. Any,
I don't care.
any ideas?
I wanna do it, so whatever day.
Whatever works.
All right,
You want the joints?
29th at 6:30.
Sure.
That works.
I want to get back to work. In your packets, Lori gave us the first quarter financials. Look them over. If you have any questions, we can ask Lori at the next meeting. I had a chance to look them over earlier, and nothing major. Correspondence, auditor's engagement letter. This is, saying that we hired them.
And it will comply with what they asked for. So there's 2 of the same thing.
You don't know, do you,
Did you read this yet?
no, I wanted to stay awake for a while.
Oh, I was gonna say.
I just wanna look at the fees.
It's nothing that we're gonna be able to understand anyway,
No.
like you said, it's all.
Every lawyer speech.
Yeah.
Yeah, the fee is what we budgeted,
Yeah.
so. They didn't happen to say when they would give the audit to you. Well, they've been here already, so this is kinda, we already had the parts and the works, and we hired them, they were here, they did all the work. And you have sent them tons of material.
Well, they had to start from square one.
So can I have a motion to sign it?
It would be $10.
Do we need to sign both copies?
So that fee is what we budgeted, that's the number?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Motion
Okay.
to sign it?
Make a motion to sign
Second.
All in favor?
Thank you.
I need to sign that one.
Oops, that's the wrong one. Sorry.
When the auditor was here and I met with them and Lori, they had some suggestions that are going to,
Two?
Do you all wanna sign it,
Oh.
or 3 or 5?
Not just
Just,
I thought we were just getting Nancy.
you know, we went to a regional meeting
I already want a truck and what else?
Put it on Nancy's head.
Tuesday night.
Truck and bridge
So
and
much
a loader.
There's,
Yeah, this talks about all that, all of the new commissions and boards that they're having, the three big balls and
Well, we talked about the,
You wanna hit all three at the
Fire
same
truck?
time, or does it not
I
matter?
was talking to, one of the firemen, one of the officers the other day, and he said, price will probably, it's all said and done, be over
Oh, man.
more.
or what's your
But
call?
we,
$250,000
but
more.
we locked it, we're good.
Oh, okay.
Just the motor, we had like 100 reasons.
Text or email?
Whatever, email might be.
You guys can sign if you want.
I don't know, I just figured there's 3 lines, you guys got it.
Oh, wait. One for all,
Just in
and
case. It is legalese.
you're gonna jump off the side of the boat, aren't you?
MSG,
WMSD, Waynestown,
oh,
FIRE 2.
Conservation
Email that
Commission
time.
letters of interest, we have 2 more openings, 2 more vacancies on the Conservation Commission. And,
Lines on the side of the road thing, right?
we have 2 people that are interested in serving on the Conservation Commission.
She's,
I know.
Two vacancies.
yeah, Marta's in charge of that, right?
I don't know if I'm in charge. We're having our reorganization meeting on
Yeah.
Monday.
You're the lead.
I think I'm gonna.
Lisa?
Leading for it.
You, and who else is on it?
Dave and
Dave,
Sheila, right?
many
Dave
more
Salvo.
Solo, and Sheila.
Sheila.
7.
So Lisa, you're the youngest person on the board.
Yeah.
Couple of youngsters there.
Well, let's see who else is coming on right
That's
here.
what I just said, a couple of youngsters are going.
So, we have a vacancy for a 4-year term that expires in 2025 and a vacancy that expires in 2028.
They're both 4-year terms?
Yes.
I make a
Make a
motion.
motion.
I make a motion that we,
WMS.
Sheila and
for Sheila P4 for the first one you mentioned, and for Southern Bowl for the second one.
Second.
all in favor? So you have 4.
Two.
I second that.
That's email.
Old business. Oh, we have a correspondence, sorry, Laura.
I do have, additional correspondence. Many months ago, we had an offer to purchase lot 384, a town-owned lot.
Okay?
And finally, we have the full amount of the money and everything situated for you to be able to sign the deed and make the transfer complete.
Okay.
So, Nancy, you can sign your life away.
Again? Yeah.
We need 2 witnesses.
It's your turn.
You're all witness sign.
Witness Doug sign. What law is this for?
384.
That's on Main Road?
I don't
Oh,
know.
okay.
Witnesses there.
perfect.
Oh, you
It's
put
got
that
a,
on
it's got a check.
384?
Thank you.
384, yeah.
I appreciate it.
There's just one left,
Save
the
a lot
last
of
email
service.
he wrote said he'd have the check in the mail next
The
week.
government sites is
Oh, good. You probably don't own too many more lots than Alcohol, do we? I'm thinking,
We have half a lot that we own,
yeah,
and,
3 or 4 lots. I'll have to check, I'm sure. What else do you have for correspondence, Lori?
just the complaints that you have.
Okay. Alright, that would be under new business then, I guess. Last select board meeting, here, I'm sorry. Last select board meeting, I asked if you would look at the garden down there and the tennis court, and what do you think about that?
I mean, the court itself's in pretty rough shape. The river's starting to impede onto the bank, it's not that far away from the court. There's a shed down there, a bunch of gardening boxes, I mean, there's blueberry bushes, but, I mean, I don't know, I would suggest that maybe we reach out to the people that originally owned all that stuff and see if they want it. If they don't want it,
So if they have tools and stuff like that. we should
yeah, I
definitely
mean,
reach out.
yeah, John had an idea, maybe we just auction it off or something.
Yeah,
Give
or
it
they
away,
could,
give
or
it
they could
away.
auction it off,
They can
because it was
auction it
theirs.
off if it's theirs, if they don't want it, I mean, if they just say, no, none of it, leave it there, then we'll have to do something, but it's just a water tank. I mean, there's some decent salvageable stuff.
I'm guessing it's not any of their personal stuff, I imagine it's
Grants.
stuff they purchased through grants that they got as the seed savers.
So, I mean, the shed is a decent sized garden shed, it's got a pavilion over it.
Yeah, that was donated, probably more than
Yeah.
I don't
donated,
know
that
if there's
was
something we can do with
donated.
that. or-
Your son and my son helped build it.
Oh, I know.
That's right.
Yeah,
But
but the
it-
court itself is not, I mean, the whole, we were gonna get rid of it years ago, right? It was cost us like $2,000 a year to steal the thing.
What scares me is the buckling of the tennis court, and it's really a trip hazard if anybody goes in there, even if the seed savers start using it again.
So what's the status of the seed savers? I mean, I know nobody's using it,
I don't
nobody's
know.
down there. When we started, or when the seed savers started,
Okay.
they came to this board, they asked for permission
To use
to
it,
use it. It's not a
Where I came from.
town committee,
right,
correct?
right.
Unlike the
BRIGG.
Sign committee.
Sign committee, or whatever they call that, community committee, I think it's called. This was their own entity, they didn't wanna use any town money, anything like that. They're not using it anymore. I would say, you know, as a board, we should say, we maybe reach out to them and say, are you all set with us?
Yeah, I mean,
We're done, we've decommissioned,
I
they're
don't know
done.
how altogether, you don't know how we acquired it in the first place, if it was a grant or town grant or something, it's probably ours.
Well,
The tennis court was a
The
recreation.
tennis
I
court, but
believe.
the stuff down there,
Stuff
the
down
seed
there.
savers did it all through their own
They
doing.
purchased it all themselves.
Volunteers.
Yeah, they needed a town, in order to get some grants, I believe.
I don't think we signed any.
So I don't think,
I'm
yeah,
not
I mean, I
sure
know
if we
they, I think they
did.
had a summer school
Um,
program one year, I don't know if they got a grant for that.
Maybe that's what it was.
Yes, the summer camp, that's right.
but I don't think it's any affiliation at all with the town, so I think we can just say, okay, you know, be polite, ask them, I don't think they're doing anything anyway, so just say, okay,
You
they're
might
done.
have-
I mean, it's just gonna rot away.
Yeah, they're done, and then we can say, okay, well, there's things down there people want, or if they don't want it, whatever you wanna do, you wanna put it out and say, if someone wants it, this is what the price is, or free, or whatever you wanna do.
I'm
Yeah.
sure they have mulch or something
Get
in
it
those
out there.
garden beds that are pretty good.
Then we have to decide what's gonna happen, and that's when we can, when we have this joint meeting with the school directors, these things can be brought up. Emergency management, what you wanna do with that down there, so on, you know. There's probably 3 or 4 subjects that we probably have to talk about.
So do you wanna make a motion to have Lori write a letter, fluffy letter?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to write a nice letter to the seed savers.
What's the status?
What's the status of this stuff, basically? Do you
Yeah,
want
we're
any
gonna
of
clean
it?
it up.
You know, we're gonna.
Especially the, I'm
Cause we're
concerned
gonna,
about the trip
yeah, cause
hazard
we're gonna get rid of it. We're gonna get rid of
Right.
liability.
the liability on it, yeah.
Are we still paying insurance on it? We used to.
On what?
On the tennis court?
We got rid of the court, probably wouldn't hurt to let some trees grow by the riverbank there to stabilize it a little bit. It's got a steep drop off to it. And then they'd have more open space around the court. Where the court was. I think the art area.
I can bring the excavator down, just push everything into the river. What do you think?
I heard the excavator, but I don't wanna hear the rest.
At one time that was filled in back there, that, I don't know how or when, but we used to literally jump off trees back there into the water. It was deep enough to do
But
that.
you were little then.
Yeah, but it's only ankle deep now, so the river
It's
just
still
changed
in,
its
it's
course.
still
or-
in.
If I could mention quickly, I don't, you know, I don't know how stabilizing the bank, I think the best thing is somehow they got a permit to brace up the river over here.
Who did?
State.
State,
Oh,
town, state,
by the bridge?
State.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
Clarence.
when rivers are eroding in, you gotta pull all the stone into the bank and open up the channel. I hear what you said about the trees, but what ends up happening there, if you don't have everything pulled up, then it just undermines and then the big trees fall into it.
Right, so the difference is our trees are something you can actually do. The state's never gonna permit you to go on that river.
They just let this?
That's a
That's
clearance
the
project
state?
by the bridge.
State?
Come down on a Friday night in the dark, I'll have it
Well,
taken care of.
DOT project.
Sir, I just talked to a farmer, and the farmer here in the past has gotten a permit from the state. to go
Could use
to the
a
river.
vacation.
Yeah, it's,
So there might be a way to do it, and I think he actually mentioned now. Say this 100%. There might be a stipulation, you can do so much without the permit, so I'm not sure, but I'll look into that.
there is a certain amount of removal.
Yeah, that you can do without,
You gotta reach out to that
It's
river
not much.
corridor
It's
guy.
very minimal.
yes, so many yards
Yeah,
or
it's
whatever.
minimal.
Dave would be a good guy to
And I think it's gotta stay on
talk
your
to
own
him
lands.
quite often.
Yeah,
Bring it
well,
back.
maybe it's an emergency type thing, it's a school,
Yeah.
safety of the children, you know, it depends on how you
Playground.
write that.
Yeah, it's all
It's all
in
in
minor language.
Soften it up, soften it up, right?
Word or two in there that makes
Well,
all.
Pat,
Soften the language up and now it's ready to get you away.
right?
So the motion to write a letter, third name.
Everybody comes to school
All in
Monday,
favor?
everything's taken
Aye.
care of.
What do we have for new business? Nothing. Okay, I want to make oh, no, wait a minute. New business. We got, some letters concerning the, reappraisal, the assessor company that we hired and, one of their employees. I don't know if you've had a chance to read them. If you wanna read them, take them under advisement, and then we can discuss them next meeting.
Did
Because
you,
you just got them in your box tonight.
I did read them, I didn't know if you wanted to discuss this in the executive session or not, because it is an employee of the town.
Yep.
You know, we did hire out,
Yep.
you know, there's letters are letters, and I'm not saying they're not true, I'm just saying I would like to reach out to the employee or the agency and talk to them too, two sides of every story. But it is disturbing that we do get letters like that, so.
Well, if there's nothing else, can we have a motion to go into executive session for employee review and also, a legal matter?
Motion.
Second.
John?
All in favor?
I just wanna say thank you.
Thank you.
I had a good time tonight.
Yeah.
No, I miss being here,